Stairs Resource Library learning activity. So if you had a chance to read along with us, we just finished Go Away Big Green Monster, and now we will be doing a learning activity. It is really two activities in one. So first we will be making Play-Doh using ingredients you may already have in your kitchen. Once we've completed our Play-Doh, we will show you how to extend the activity if you would like to make a big green monster like in the story. You ready? Let's get started. So for this activity, we will be making homemade Play-Doh, and you will need flour, salt, water, oil, and if you would like to make them green like in the story, some green food coloring will do. So for the exact recipe ingredients, go ahead and check the description box and that information will be provided there. Let's get started. So first we will add all of our dry ingredients. So we will add flour, and I have my measuring cups here. I'm going to pour it in. Next, we will add the salt. Listen to the sound it makes. And we will add that. And then I'm going to do a quick stir. I'm using a spoon right now, just to mix the dry ingredients together so that we can form the base for our Play-Doh. So once that's mixed together, let's go ahead and add our wet ingredients. So we will add water, and we will pour in some oil, and I want to make mine green like the story, so green food coloring. Put a few drops of that. Now let's watch what happens. So for this next part, I'm going to actually put on gloves so that I can mix it with my hands, because once you add the food coloring, it will change it to, see that? It's turning green. But the food coloring will stain your hands, so go ahead, if you have gloves and you want to put those on, feel free to do that. So I'm still using a spoon, but I want to add a little bit more flour. If you find your recipe is a little too sticky, you can always just add a little bit more, because it does vary depending on the brands of ingredients that you're using. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so now that it's firming up, I'm going to go ahead and put my gloves on. And I'm going to mix, yes. So it's still a little sticky. I'm going to add a little bit more flour and work that in. And when the texture feels about right, then go ahead and form it into a ball. Now at this point, depending on how many children you have in your group, you may want to double the recipe to make more. This may be enough, but usually what I do is separate it so that each child has their own batch. That's especially important now that we're trying to keep everyone safe and not share germs. I'm going to put a little bit of flour on my board. Another tip is when children are working with Play-Doh, if you want to give them a boundary, to keep the item, so either a tray or something they can put it on. That's very helpful to keep the Play-Doh in the place where you would like to keep it. So I'm gonna just work this in. And this is gonna be the base for our Play-Doh monster. I call it Play-Doh art. Okay, so put this here. So the next thing I would like to share with you is if you want to take your Play-Doh and extend it to construct and deconstruct big green Play-Doh monsters like the story, go ahead and grab what items you have. You may not have these exact items, but use what you do have and allow the children to use their creativity to build their own big green monster. So if you remember the story, he had scraggly purple hair. So if you have something like pipe cleaners, you can put those out and see what the children come up with. If you have this crinkle paper, you can feel free to add that. So I'm gonna just show scraggly purple hair. So I didn't work all the flour out of mine, but you'll work this through and you can shape them how you want them. Can you see that? Scraggly purple hair. If you remember in the story, he also had 2 big yellow eyes. So look around in your supplies and see what you have that you can use. Keep in mind you do want to keep this safe for the children in your program, so depending on their age group will depend on what you use. So if you happen to have some of these wiggly eyes, you can use those if it's appropriate for your group. If you have other items that you feel would be more appropriate, go ahead and provide those for the children. You can use puff balls. I only have 1, so I'm going to cut it so that I can make 2 big yellow eyes. I'm just going to stick those in like that. What else did the monster in the story have? The eyes don't want to come out, I think. So in the story, he also had a long bluish greenish nose. So I wonder what we could use for that. You can use construction paper if you have it. If you happen to have any of these colored craft sticks, you can try that. Or you can ask the children, what would you use for your big green monster's long bluish greenish nose? So thank you for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed reading Go Away Big Green Monster, learning how to make homemade Play-Doh, and how to extend the activity to make big green monster. So if you create big green Play-Doh monsters, go ahead and snap a few photos and send it to us. My email is tgardner@crystalstairs.org. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next First Friday.